Hey guys, how's everybody doing today? Welcome back to Star Wars Canon. I'm a little late to the game on this one, but the Kenobi trailer dropped just a couple of hours ago. I was still at work, definitely couldn't make a video or anything like that. I was able to watch the trailer though, and since I got home, definitely watched it a couple more times. And as I've been watching the trailer, I've definitely found a couple of Easter eggs, one that's pretty freaking ridiculous actually, and then maybe another one that's kind of a mystery. I don't know, I can't quite figure it out. I'm going to actually ask you guys if you know anything about it. I'll put that up on the screen later in the video so you can see what I'm talking about. Until then, real quick, I'm actually going to drop the trailer right here. So if you haven't already seen it, we can watch it together real quick. And then after the trailer, we'll go over the things that I found.
The fight is done. We lost. Stay hidden.
The key to hunting Jedi is patience. Jedi cannot help what they are. Their compassion leaves a trail. The Jedi Code is like an itch. He cannot help it. Where is he?
All right. I don't know about you guys, but that trailer got me freaking pumped for this show. I think the first thing I noticed is obviously the music, right? Duel of the Fates playing there at the beginning. Plus, they did a really good job of making Kenobi look like 10 years older, because, you know, this show's supposed to happen 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. And I don't know if they aged him up a little bit, you know, Ewan McGregor, or, I mean, I guess he is like 15 years older than when we got Revenge of the Sith back in the early 2000s. But either way, he looks like perfect. It's right halfway between that Revenge of the Sith Kenobi that we remember and that Alec Guinness, you know, 20 years on Tatooine Kenobi. So first things first, I think everything looks really good. The next thing I noticed was the Inquisitor shuttle that we get a couple of shots of throughout the trailer. It, to me, looks a lot like Director Krennic's shuttle. It's got kind of that pyramidal, triangular central body with those swoop wings. Now, granted, these are a lot smaller than Krennic's shuttle, but it almost looks like a smaller version of his shuttle, you know? And this is about the right time period. Rogue One, you know, starts off 10 years before New Hope, and this is roughly in that same time period, so who knows? Maybe it's the same model of shuttle or like a knockoff class, who knows? And it's not just the Inquisitor's shuttle that's really interesting in these shots, it's actually where that shuttle's going. We get this one shot where it seems to be approaching this pylon or part of a, you know, military facility that's in the water. Now, based on the next scene we get, where we actually see the Inquisitors sitting around like what looks like a conference table, right? Conference room, the Inquisitor conference room. This room seems to be underwater. If you look at the windows to the left, it looks blurry. It looks kind of that dark aquamarine, right? I think that this is actually all occurring at the Fortress Inquisitorius, which we actually saw in Jedi Fallen Order. Now, for those of you who may not know, the Fortress Inquisitorius was actually on a water moon called Nur. This was a moon in the Mustafar system, and if you look at these clips from Fallen Order, I believe you can actually see Mustafar itself in the background. And the next thing I noticed, and I'm not sure how big a deal this really is, but both the Fortress Inquisitorius as well as Vader's castle on Mustafar have this same tuning fork architecture. And you actually see in the Inquisitor conference room what looks to be almost like a miniature version of Vader's castle. Now, I don't know if it's actually a miniature version or if it's like maybe some sort of hologram projector. You know how the Emperor used hologram projectors to, create this theatrical situation. Maybe Vader's doing something similar with his Inquisitors because we know he is in charge of their training. And that actually leads really well into this next shot, where we see this guy who I can only assume is the Grand Inquisitor. Now, for those of you who haven't watched Star Wars Rebels, the Grand Inquisitor was essentially Vader's number 2, at least in the hunt for the remaining Jedi after Order 66. Like his name implies, he was the top Inquisitor, second only to Vader himself. We see him quite a bit in the first season of Rebels, and a little bit in the second season, where we get a little bit more backstory on him. Now, if you're wondering why his face looks like that, it's actually because he's from Utapau, the planet where General Grievous went to hide during Episode 3, where Kenobi went and eventually killed him. Yeah, he's from that planet. He was actually a Jedi Temple Guard before Order 66, during which time Vader actually turned him to the dark side and he joined as the first Inquisitor. All right, in this shot, we actually see another Inquisitor. I don't know if we know who she is yet. I don't think we've ever seen an Inquisitor who looks exactly like her, so she's probably some new character we're going to be introduced to in this series. In this shot, she's on some sort of metropolitan planet. She's crouched in front of 2 Arabesh letters, and Arabesh is actually the name for the written language in Star Wars. People speak what's called Galactic Basic, but the writing is referred to as Arabesh. Now, when you translate these 2 Arabesh letters into English, they're the letters E and R. So, I don't know, maybe she's crouched on the roof of an emergency room or something. I mean, wouldn't be too far of a stretch. This is where things just get weird, all right? So, here's that same Inquisitor again, but in this shot, we can see written in green letters the word milk. Green milk. And we all know what that means.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Anyway, I think that about sums that up. All right, this next part is where I'm going to need you guys' help because I can't quite figure out the significance behind this next bit. So we see another Inquisitor walking through what looks to be like a marketplace, again on that same metropolitan planet that we saw a minute ago. In the background, again in green Arabesh letters, we see the words or a name. When you translate the letters into English, it comes out as Haas Mark. Now, I did a little digging into this. There is a guy named Mark Haas who was essentially a road manager for a bunch of rock bands back in the 60s and 70s. He lived in Santa Barbara, California, so maybe this is just like a subtle nod to him or a call out to him. Maybe someone at Lucasfilm is a fan, but if there's some other meaning here that I'm missing, throw it down in the comments because I'm clearly not connecting all the dots here. Next, we see Obi-Wan walking in what appears to be that same marketplace. So I think he might actually be getting off of Tatooine on this show, and I know a lot of people were worried about that, but again, I don't have a problem with him leaving Tatooine and leaving Luke in his aunt and uncle's care, as long as there's a good reason for it, and I'm sure the show can give us a pretty good reason. And that brings us to Ned. This really cool looking droid is called Ned. Right there on his chest plate, you can see again in Arabesh letters the word for Ned. I'm assuming that's his name. I actually don't think this is a droid though. If you look at these next couple of shots, it looks like we see someone wearing stormtrooper armor from the butt down, and then what looks to be like metal or maybe even droid parts from the waist up. I think Kenobi may actually be sneaking around in disguise. He's done that in the Clone Wars. And I think Ned may actually just be Kenobi in disguise. You'll also notice that whoever is wearing the stormtrooper armor and then the metal up top is wielding what looks to just be a hammer, which makes sense. Kenobi doesn't want to whip out his lightsaber here and let the whole galaxy know that there's a Jedi still running around. It makes sense that he would go with more melee weapons. As we get toward the end of the trailer here, we now see the 5th brother, who is another one of the Inquisitors we actually met originally in the Rebels TV show. He, again, was mostly in Season 2 until he was dispatched by Maul later in the season. In the next couple of shots, we see someone who a lot of people online are just assuming is Kenobi, but I personally don't think this is Kenobi. When you look at the back of his head, right, which is as much detail as they're going to give us, the hair looks a little too dark, a little too short. I think this may actually be another Jedi in hiding who escaped Order 66. Who knows? Maybe I'm just having wishful thinking. Maybe it is just Kenobi, but again, I don't think so. And then when he's standing in this alleyway right here, again, this may just be a little detail that's thrown in there by the producers at Lucasfilm to mess with people like me who look up all the little details. But in Arabesh letters on the wall, we see the word logic. Again, I don't actually know if that has any significance, but interesting nonetheless. Finally, we get the title screen for the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Super pumped for May 25th. I don't know about you guys. And then we get this really cool little Disney Plus animation where they've got a lightsaber cutting it out. And I don't know about you guys, but I couldn't help but think of that hilarious meme, right? I'll drop it right here if you don't know what I'm talking about. And that's it overall. Honestly, I love the trailer. I think it gave us just enough to get us really excited. We can tell that they're going to really lean heavily into the Rebels lore. So for those of you who have not yet watched the Rebels TV show, I know the animation may be a little jarring at first. It's definitely a step down from the Clone Wars animation, especially Season 7 of the Clone Wars. But the storyline in Rebels is some of the best Star Wars you're going to get anywhere. Yeah, the animation may be a little bumpy, but it's worth it. Ride it out. You're going to love the story. And I think the various plot points in Kenobi will probably be more meaningful if you understand the Rebels storyline as well. And that's going to do it. That was my first ever YouTube trailer reaction review Easter egg video. Kind of rolled it all into one. Let me know what you thought down below. If I dragged it out too long, went a little bit too much in the nerdy Arabesh letters and stuff, let me know. I'll change it up for next time. I'm sure we'll get another trailer or two before the show actually premieres in May. But that's it for tonight. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and may the Force be with you.